Lisa from Been There, Got Out, and I am really looking forward to today's Instagram Live with Tosha Schore, who is there she is, who is the founder of Parenting Boys Peacefully. Let me invite clients in our community about aggression from not just our exes, but our children. Our own children have been physically aggressive, and so one of the best people who can help with something like this is Tosha. And she has an event coming up. But Tosha, before you introduce yourself officially, how common is aggression from our own children? Because I think in our community, people are so ashamed and they feel like it's just me. I must be this terrible parent. But how common is this issue?
So common that I run an entire business helping people address it. um, it is very common, and this is one of the things that upsets me so much is that there's so much guilt and shame that we carry as parents, and worry as well. But it is very, very common. Yes, like I don't have numbers for you, but let's just say you are so far from alone, you have no idea how far from alone you are.
Right. And this is not just a problem in America,
No,
I'm assuming, or North, everywhere.
yeah, yeah. I mean, yes, it's a problem, and it's a problem for a lot of reasons, not the least of which is that parenting really isn't seen as work, and so we don't have near the support that we need to be able to parent, from sort of a calm, centered place. It's hard. We're juggling a lot. So, yeah, I know we tend to blame ourselves, but I think there are lots of structures in place that really make it hard for us. But that said, there's so much that we can do to stop the aggression. So, yeah, not
Yeah.
alone. You're not.
Okay, good. So speaking of that, why don't you talk a little bit about who you are and what Parenting Boys Peacefully is?
Yeah. So I'm Tosha Schore, and I run a business called Parenting Boys Peacefully with a mission to create a more peaceful world, one sweet boy at a time. And I do that by working with parents to care deeply for themselves, to connect with their boys deeply, to set limits lovingly, and to play wildly. And so I'm really looking at what is this opportunity that we have as parents of little ones who are struggling to change the trajectory of what their lives might look like if we don't know how to step in, right? Because one of the things that people think about aggression is like, oh, they'll grow out of it. And if you've got that knot in your stomach and you're like, I don't think he's growing out of it, you're probably right. And so we just want to step in and give him the help and the support that he needs, and you the help and the support that you need to shift things.
Yeah. Now, Tasha, I just want to note, because we've done interviews before, that even though this is primarily about boys, that you also can help parents who have aggressive girls,
Oh yeah,
correct?
yeah. I support parents all along the of kids all along the gender spectrum. I just from a personal perspective, actually, from like a women's studies feminist background, feel really passionate about supporting our boys as a feminist act. So I really uh, focused on them also because you just look in the news, right? They need help. They're struggling, and our world is struggling in many ways because of them. And so, like I said, we just want to seize this opportunity to step in when they're younger, and we can really make a difference.
Yeah. Now, also, I'm thinking we have a client that's forefront in my mind who has a teenage girl who is also physically abusing her. You had mentioned little ones, but you can handle people who are dealing with teenagers also, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, everything that I teach is like I always say the parents are you are the leader of your family. You get to decide what makes sense. You get to take the tools and adapt them in ways that make sense for your child, whether that be their age or their neuro level or type of neurodiversity, or where you are at emotionally as a parent and how much support you have. So everything is nuanced, but yes, absolutely. It's not too late. That's one of the things that parents, I think, often feel is like, oh my gosh, um, I wish I had started this earlier, probably what I hear more than anything else. I wish I had found you when he was 5 or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, I wish he was 5 too, but if he's 15, like we're going to start now.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love that it gives parents hope because, our clients are all dealing with extremely high conflict with exes. So, of course, a lot of times that conflict bleeds onto the kids and they absorb a lot of it. And many times the kids, when they're going from household to household, one parent is unfortunately they're weaponizing the child's aggression to punish the other parent. Just recently, someone we know was telling us that as her son was being physically abusive towards her, the father was telling her, well, this is what you get. This is what you deserve. He hates you because of the way that you parent. So it's all your fault.
Yeah, I'm sorry. That's a really hard position to be in. I really try to stay away from blame because what I want to keep front and center is how can we help this child grow into an emotionally intelligent person, right? So how can we preserve their emotional life? And so I know that your focus is conflict between parents and helping parents navigate divorce. Um, I'm looking at what is in the best interest of the child. And sometimes, and even oftentimes, not the parents aren't on the same page. Like even in the best of situations where there isn't conflict, maybe there's a peaceful separation, or maybe the parents are still together and happy together. Even in those situations, most often parents are not on the same page with regard to the way they parent. It is rare that I get a couple who are sort of both bought into the fact that they want to parent peacefully, they want to use connection-based practices, they want to ditch the punishments, et cetera, et cetera. So usually I am working with one parent who is very interested in using these tools as a way to both um, sort of set their child up for a better life, but also to preserve their relationship with their child. And then a second parent who perhaps isn't aware or isn't bought in to the fact that it is important to lean into the relationship and put connection first. And that's okay. You don't both have to be doing things the same way.
Yeah, yeah. I see that there's a comment here. The issue is the reaction fallback from the breakup, and it's bad. Oops. It's bad. This is the cause of the emotional damage, and the aggression is, we know it's often a result of this kind of thing.
Yeah. So one of the things that's interesting, one of the things that parents often want to dig into is why. Why is my kid acting this way? Why is he doing this? Why is she doing this? And I tend to like shy away from that some because one, it often doesn't matter, and sometimes it does, but a lot of times it doesn't. Like if a kid's being bullied or something, there's something we need to do about it. Okay, but oftentimes it's a result of maybe a past trauma that's not going away. It just happened. So the why is less important than like how can we move through it. Um, and I lost my train of thought.
All right.
Shoot.
So now that happens to me all the time.
Wait.
So you were saying like sometimes it doesn't matter like why a child is acting this way, but I'm thinking being solution focused of like what can we do about it now?
Right. Well, this person was just saying, it's as a result of this separation. And the way that I look at it is like, okay, well, I'm just going to assume that this separation happened because it needed to happen, or it is what it is. It's like oftentimes aggression starts in kids because a sibling was born. Maybe an easier example. It's like, well, you're not going to toss the sibling. This is
Right.
sibling here to stay. And so we have to address the aggression. The same thing. Okay, this relationship didn't work. For whatever reason, it didn't work. And now the child is showing their hurt and their upset with aggressive behaviors. We can't make this breakup not happen, but we don't need to make the breakup not happen. We just need to create space for the child to release the hurt and the feelings in a way that people can stay
Right.
safe.
Right. Okay. So the same person that made the comment is saying, okay, yes, we know the why, but yes, what can we do?
Exactly. Well, I mean, there's a lot. Uh, First of all, I just want to say, and I know you're going to talk about this, that I have a free workshop that's going to be happening. So if you want to dive in deeper, we start tomorrow, and it's going to happen over a week's time. It consists of 3 pre-recorded videos as well as 3-hour-long live sessions with me. We're going to start with really looking at mindset, which is the what do we really do? Step one often is getting ourselves into what I like to call good enough parenting shape to be able to handle the upset. Because oftentimes we're in a place of worry, fear, anger, and we're unable to help a child from that place, right? If you just think about it, if somebody's trying to help you, but they're mad at you, or they're scared of you, or they're scared for your future, it's very hard to take in or even see their love or caring. We're just reacting. So that is the place to start. But I mean, there's lots to do. We got to get really good at setting loving limits. We can talk about how to use play strategically. Um, yeah, I mean, there's a lot.
Yes.
Both
Yes. And I,
really key, right? So in the situation that this person is talking about, okay, there's been a break in a connection, and a big break. It sounds like a parent that was present is no longer present in the same way or to the same degree, and that is landing likely as a big hurt, or maybe even a trauma, big T, little t, some kind of trauma for this child. And again, okay, nothing to do about that. That's okay. But how can we support that child through, not blame them for being upset, not try to convince them that they should be feeling differently, but actually go through the muck, right? I always love that kid's book, right? You can't go over it, you can't go under it, you can't go around it, you got to go through it.
mm-hmm.
And messy, and the feelings are real. There's no magic pill that I can give you or that anybody can give you that will make your child feel loving and calm again. But if we can bolster ourselves and learn how to protect ourselves and hold limits and use play and build connection, bolster our own support, we can absolutely help that child move through to a place where they are no longer acting out aggressively, but maybe they are asking for time with you when they feel dysregulated, or they can share verbally like that they're furious at you or whatever it is, but instead of, blow a punch or swearing at you or whatever it looks like, spitting at you, all the things.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm thinking of another issue that's come up recently with someone we know that has to do with a teenager and a phone. And the teenager has, of course, there's nothing about phones in a parenting plan. And one of the parents has given a child a phone, which we know in our client situation is often used to track and spy on the other parent. So the parent doesn't want the phone in their house, but the child has been told, you're a man, it's your phone, you're allowed to do whatever you want. And so our client is talking about dealing with the ex, and we're saying it's not really between you and the ex, it's between you and your son. And I see like the terror of, how am I going to enforce a boundary with our son when it's like they're being rewarded for the aggression by the other parent.
I mean, honestly, we can't really worry about things we can't control, right? We can't control the other parent.
Right.
There's nothing that we can do. Well, that I know how to do. Maybe I don't know. I don't know how to do that.
No, we can't.
I don't control anybody else but me. So I think if we just let that go, and part of that is our own emotional work. How do we let that go? We get to be furious. We get to have all the feels about that, but that's not our kid's problem, right? This, like you said, this is an issue of a boundary between me and my child. What are the house rules? What boundary do I want to set about this? You can absolutely fold in your child, obviously, this is all depending on age and maturity level, into a plan, but ultimately it's going to be your responsibility as the leader of the family, as the parent, to uphold the limit that you have both agreed to, or if they don't agree, that you've agreed to, that you've decided makes sense for everybody's emotional health. But I do want to say that, like, because aggression is scary and it's upsetting to everybody, it's worrisome, people tend to want to just dive right in and set limits. Okay, well, when you come to my house, you have to hand me that phone and I'm going to lock it up until you go back to your dad's or whatever. Mm-hmm. But really, we can't start with just the limits, which is why all of the pieces that I talked about are important. It's like a big puzzle. Mm-hmm. So I want to be focusing first, like I said, on our own emotional well-being, but also on deepening and strengthening the connection and upping the good times that you have with that child. Because only then will they be able to respond in a healthy way to the limits that we're setting. Because kids who are struggling in this way often are getting like a lot of negativity coming their way, right? They have people mad at them all the time. They're doing everything wrong. No, stop, cut it out. You know better. All of the things, right? So we kind of have to quiet that stuff a little bit and stop with that ourselves and start pouring in like the nurture and the love so that the child's able to take the limits, and ultimately we can get the aggression to stop.
Yeah, you're making me think about expectations,
Oh,
and I'm thinking of another situation with someone we know where it's also a teenager, and the teenager, so the person we know can't seem to get the teenager to see them often, and even for special occasions like a birthday or family events, the child will be like, I don't feel comfortable with you, and then they'll get like a minute for an event that the parent is like excited about, and the child like leaves. And so I don't know what kind of advice to give, but in some ways it's almost like there's aggression there too, of like, I'm gonna withdraw from you.
yeah. I mean, I don't know if I'd call that aggression, but I mean, as a parent coach, sort of stepping out of aggression, what I've discovered in parenting, I've got 3 teens or post teens. I don't even know what to call them.
Yeah, young adults.
Whatever you want to call them. And and my practice is really focused on younger kids for the most part, like up to 11, 12, something like that. But one-on-one, I've definitely coached lots of parents of teens. And I always say, like, parenting a teen is kind of like dating. It's like rejection, 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 right? So as a parent of a teen, like to that parent, I would say it is not your kid's job to love you and to do what you want them to do and to celebrate you. Like, it's your job to keep showing up despite how they're able to show up. So I would say keep showing up and be as pleased as you could possibly be, right? Thank you so much for stopping by to say happy birthday. I really appreciate it. If they leave and then they leave, it's okay. But that positive interaction just keeps showing up. It's like the message that they need to hear is the from a parent's perspective, from the parent saying, I love you no matter what. That's what the behavior needs to be saying. Not like, I love you if you do what I want and what I need, which is for you to come and like celebrate me at my birthday. That's really not their job. It would be nice. I mean, I'm not going to lie, I love that too, but we can't control them. And we are the parent and they are the child, even if they are a teen.
Yeah, and as you're saying that, especially the way that you said it, it makes me think that often a child is getting that same attitude from the other side. That if you behave and if you do what I want, then I'm going to love you. So we
Right.
might inadvertently be doing the same things when we show disappointment when the child doesn't want to celebrate a birthday with us or do something together. So I'm really glad that you highlighted that.
Totally. We don't realize it and we don't mean to, right? We just don't know.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Super important. Okay. Um, I was going to say, how common is it? So we've been getting, we have a lot of clients with really little kids, for like a 3-year-old to come back from visitation. We know a lot of times they come back from visitation with the other parent. They're completely dysregulated, to start parroting the things that the other parent used to say to our client in the relationship, but like a little preschooler, hitting, spitting, calling names, saying things that are not true, like about the our client as a parent, that our client is like, oh my gosh, my kid is only 3, and I feel like I we're doomed.
Yeah. No, you're not doomed. I mean, I guess you're feeling that, but no, you're not. I would say to that your child feels safe to use those behaviors. And what I want you to do is get into good enough parenting shape to be able to realize that that's not really about you, to not take it personally, so that you can be present with it and allow all the feelings to come out, um, whether that be through words or otherwise, right? Um, and you will see that if we're not reactive and we're not scared of them, and we can maybe even lean in and get playful around it, right? Like, um, you know, maybe they're saying, I don't know, you're a stupid dummy or something, right?
Yeah.
And, maybe you say, are, are you calling me a silly bunny? I did you? No, you're a stupid bunny. A silly dummy, whatever. A silly bunny. Like, can you get silly? You've got a little kid here. They are parroting. So on the one hand, we say, oh, they're parroting. But on the other hand, we hold them responsible and accountable for what they're saying. They don't know what they're saying at that age. They just know like the energy that's coming back at them and the energy that it came at them with. And so again, how are we showing up? Can we be playful? Can we hold limits and keep ourselves safe? Can we, up the connection, et cetera, et cetera?
Yeah, great answers. I'm thinking also a big thing in many people's minds is disrespect.
Oh, yeah.
And okay, can you talk about that a little bit? Is like what are people going to think of me as a parent if I allow this this level of disrespect?
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to answer this really quickly because every situation is different. Like when things happen out in public, it's very different than when they happen in private. So,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what I will say is that most of us, in fact, I've never met a parent that has the goal of their child growing up and doing everything that people tell them to do. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's not what we do for our children. So in terms of when people say they're not respecting me, usually that means they're not doing what they tell that I'm telling them that they need to do, or they're not stopping. So I want to reframe sort of parenting from this control paradigm to a connection paradigm. Like it's really an entire shift
Mm-hmm.
because if we're trying to control our child, whether that be their aggressive behaviors or something else, like we will fail. Maybe you can do it when they're 3. Even so, probably only through scaring them. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
Ultimately, we don't want to do. We just do it because we don't know what else to do. But if we can do that when they're 3 or 4 or 5, we can't do that when they're 15, right? They're bigger than us. They're stronger than us. We can't control them. So the sooner we can start parenting by connection rather than control, the better off that we're going to be, right? Because like I always give us an example. Like if my 17-year-old says, I'm taking the car, I can say, no, actually that doesn't really make sense because whatever, it's too late to go out. You've got school tomorrow, blah, 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 whatever. Um, he's taller than me. He's stronger than me. Like if he wants to take the car, really there's nothing I can do about it. He could just walk out and take the car. So all I have to go on is my relationship with him,
Mm-hmm.
my connection. That's all I've got in that moment. And so we want to be constantly, whether you're starting at 5 or 15, leaning in to parenting via connection and letting go of the control. The more we try to control, the more they push back.
Yeah. And since both you and I have young adult kids, like mine are now 21 and 24, the kids are older much longer than they're little, right? So you're thinking about the relationship that's not just these first part of their childhood, but the rest of their lives when they are not dependent on us anymore.
Yeah.
When they do view us as a human being more than just like, I have to do what my parent says because I live in their house.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit more about what you're doing now, and I'll make sure to put the link in the description.
Yeah. So as I mentioned, I'll just mention again. So I've got I think I said it was free. I lied. It's not free. It's $20. It's a whopping $20. I said free earlier. It is a week-long workshop that for that $20 you get 3 pre-recorded videos, teaching videos, and then you also get 3 hours live group session on Zoom with me. So we've got one Wednesday, Friday live session, and I think the next one's Monday. I believe they're 9 a.m. Pacific. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure. They will be recorded. Everything is recorded and will be available. You know, if you purchase the workshop, you'll be able to watch it all through the 19th. So if you can't make it live or you can't watch the video the day it comes out, you have through the 19th. You have a full like 9 days to watch everything. Um, like I said, we're going to focus on mindset, but also strategies that we can use in the face of aggression that we've talked a little bit about here today. And in full transparency, at the end of that workshop, I will be opening enrollment for my course that's called Out with Aggression, a step-by-step practice to stop your boy's aggressive behavior and lift your parenting confidence. And it's kind of a 6-week sprint that we go through together. And so people in the workshop will be the first to hear about that. But regardless of whether or not you're joining, you are welcome to join us for the workshop.
Great. And so I'll put the link in the description, but is there anything you want to say that people should also look at? Is there other content that you have they should just show up?
No, I think you should just show up. Like I think what I found is that um, y'all are smart, right? Like you know a lot. You probably know plenty and maybe almost everything you need to know. And so it's really more about implementing and going back to the beginning of this conversation, like remembering that you're not alone. And so, one of the most empowering things about this workshop is being in community with other people who have kids who are struggling with aggression or who are struggling with aggression themselves as parents, because you will not just know intellectually, okay, Tosha said I'm not alone, but you will actually feel somatically, right, in your every cell of your body, like, wow, I really am not alone, because you will hear from other parents, you will interact with other parents, and I'm very practical, right? I am not at all interested in giving you a bunch of theory and a bunch of information. I want life to go better in your family, and the only way that that's going to happen is if you go home and experiment with things. So my goal is to give you little bits of information with instructions for what to do with them so that you can go home and experiment, because that's how you're going to create change in your family. And people over the week make amazing transformations. I'm not going
Yeah.
to say the aggression's going to go away. I'm not magic, but I hear all kinds of amazing things. Like, my kid told me he loved me. Like, I don't even remember the last time he did that. Or he crawled into my lap after a big upset. Whatever. It was really smooth tonight. So people really do see transformation, experience transformation quite quickly if they go all in.
Yeah, and I'm completely on the same page. I know we serve different people, but I think there's a big overlap in terms of families. And we also, part of our Been There Got Out brand is practical, actionable advice. Don't ever tell me just show up for your kid, because I don't know what that means and I can't do anything with
Exactly.
that. And also, we have a community too. We have our clients that we coach and strategize with separately, like you do with your individual clients. But we also have a weekly legal abuse support group. And we always say that being part of that community will help you heal faster, because being around other people is so validating, and you can learn from other people's stories. And it just, you feel so much less isolated in such an uncomfortable topic.
Yeah, I mean, I can't even tell you how many times people have said to me, like at the end of the workshop, I didn't even really do that much. Like I was busy and I didn't have time, but like things have like changed. I don't really know what happened. It's like, yeah, because the energy that you show up with and the confidence that you show up with shifts when you're in community with others. When you don't feel like, oh my God, I'm a horrible parent, or something's terribly wrong with my child, or I'm a failure, all the things, the shame and the guilt that we started out talking about at the beginning. So even if you feel like, okay, I don't even have time to do the 15 minutes a day of whatever Tasha's going to ask me to do, if you just show up 3 times over the next week, like, can you do that for your child? Let's just do that. That energy will transform things.
Yeah, and we've seen how just elevating one's own confidence makes such a difference. Like changing your perspective, huge amounts of things that you can control will have an effect.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right, Tasha. Well, I'm gonna sign off and get your link on as soon as possible. And I know a lot of our people are very excited about what you have, and I'm so grateful to also have you as a resource because the aggression issue comes up all the time with our clients and in our community, and you certainly know a lot more than I do about ways to handle it. So thank you again for this and for the work you do and for this workshop, these workshops coming
Yeah,
up.
my pleasure. Thanks for putting your trust in me enough to share with your community. It means a lot to me.
All right, we'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Okay, bye.